This is Women Driving the Industry with Cheyenne Malone.
Hi, everyone. I'm Cheyenne Malone. Welcome to Women Driving the Industry on CBT News. It's a show about showcasing the inspiring stories of women in the automotive industry. And today we'll take you behind the scenes and dig beyond their day-to-day in the industry. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, women represent just over 21% of car dealership employees. And while that number is low, it is increasing in the diverse roles throughout the dealership. Today, we turn our focus to the Director of Marketing for Jim Ellis Automotive Group, Loren Roberts. She's here to tell us more about her role and her journey within the industry. Welcome to the show, Loren.
Yes, thank you so much for having me, Cheyenne.
Glad to have you. So tell us a little bit about how you even got here.
Yeah, so really my journey was, I guess I call it maybe a series of happy accidents. One, for how I even ended up in marketing, and then two, how I ended up in automotive. But I had kind of a series of, like most kids do in college, of different things I thought I was going to do. And when I transferred from Emory to Georgia College in Milledgeville, my advisor there just happened to be a communications advisor. And I went there thinking I was going into the education program. And she started telling me about the communication major. And I thought, that actually sounds really fun and like something I would enjoy. And that changed my major right then and there. And then from there, I went on and started in the public sector and just was really drawn towards things that made me feel like I was making a difference in my community and doing good in the world. And I worked for City of Chamblee doing their events and promotions, and partnered with Jim Ellis Automotive Group as a main sponsor for one of our concert series that we started. And then I guess in doing that, they invited me to interview for a marketing role that they had come open. And it was really more out of curiosity than anything, and not, someone from a young age that necessarily had interest in automotive. It was just more seeing the good that they did in the community and having that curiosity about the private sector and, what it would be like to try something different. And so 10 years later, still trying something different and loving it.
So, it's an industry where it is fascinating, right? Especially when you peel back some of the layers, you get to know it a little bit more. And I'm doing so even in my role. Tell me, why do we not see very many women in this industry? What do you think's holding women back?
I think definitely it was, a mindset switch getting into retail, and maybe something that I wasn't completely prepared for. I actually found out I was pregnant with my first child the day I was off between changing jobs. So right before my first day on the job with Jim Ellis was when I found out I was pregnant. And my immediate thought was, oh my gosh, I've made a huge mistake. But obviously, still there, and everything has worked out wonderfully. But I think it's hard to find that balance, when you're in a retail industry. And, I just remember late nights of being up with my little one and seeing emails that would have come in, since the time I left work, and just feeling this pressure I was putting on myself. Like I needed to, be on top of it all the time. And that's hard to do when you're in an industry that, is going nonstop, 6 to 7 days a week. You just can't. And so it was just an unrealistic expectation and pressure I was putting on myself. And I think that, maybe a lot of women do that or see that and think, oh, I don't know if I can do that. I don't know how that would work. But then it's great when you see women making it work and you have that example to be like, oh, I can make it work and it is possible. And I don't have to, answer emails 24 hours a day.
Sure. What do you think helped you realize that? Because oftentimes you think like maybe your competition is a male that can answer emails 24/7. How do you, kind of take a step back and accept that, hey, I may not be available 24/7, but I can be just as good when I am on?
Yeah, I think it was just probably partially a mental shift out of necessity that, it just wasn't realistic and I didn't have the balance that I needed. And so I think it was one, just recognizing like I've got to change something and do something different if this is going to work, and just being okay with that part. And then I think the other part was having the benefit of being at Jim Ellis and having two Ellises that are women that are now running the company, and then a third that it was the VP when I started at Jim Ellis that I really looked up to. And so I've had that privilege of having women in leadership that I could look up to and see, them doing the same things that their male counterparts were, and doing it just as well while they managed their homes and their families. And so I had that ability to watch them and to go to them for advice and see that it was possible, and know that I didn't have to be doing anything I guess it was crazy, or that was taking more time than was needed to have that balance I was looking for.
Seeing them lead by example, really.
Exactly.
Do you have a mentor, or did you?
Not necessarily, I guess, a named mentor, but, like I said, definitely some women internally that, I can go to for advice. I have also some close friends that are with some Atlanta-based corporations that I can go to just for kind of some outside minds from the automotive industry with just various things for management and leadership. And then my husband, is one that he's just very talented when it comes to just having good intuition and a good read on things. And so he's one that I kind of run stuff by a lot. But yeah, so not necessarily a mentor, but definitely lots of people that I can lean into when needed.
How do you think we attract more women into the automotive retail industry?
I think that, a lot of it starts with ourselves, and that, we can be our own worst critic and thinking, oh, well, that's a male dominated industry, so, I shouldn't even bother. And so, I don't know exactly how we change that mindset, but I think as, more and more women are getting in automotive, and especially within the automotive group I'm in, having those women in leadership, I think seeing that and it being a visible thing is something that helps change that mindset of that, it's not just a man's world in automotive.
What do you like best about your job?
I think that a lot of, I guess, what attracted me to Jim Ellis, like I said, was the good that they do in the community. And so that's something that still is one of my favorite parts, is just being part of seeing a lot of the giving campaigns that we do, or, partnering with different organizations, and just seeing all that work that we're putting in to help a company be successful, to be able to turn around and see that being given to worthy organizations in the community. And then the team I work with is amazing, and I enjoy working with them. So that's definitely a favorite part as well, is just that we can work hard and have fun together all at the same time.
It's so important, right? To work hard, play harder.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes.
Tell me about your family life and growing up. Interesting known fact, you're a product of 9 kids.
Yes.
Wow. Where do you fall into that 9?
So I'm the second oldest of 9. And it was never a dull moment growing up.
Wow.
Always, if you were mad at one sibling, you can just go find another to play with. So I guess I kind of got used to a lot of chaos growing up, which maybe has helped some being in the automotive industry, of just, fast paced and sometimes chaotic. But yeah, just had a lot of fun growing up. And I think that also just kind of instilled in me just enjoying being around a lot of people.
Sure.
And, maybe some of my siblings might say I could go with not being around people anymore. But I think for me, it just made me just kind of enjoy being part of a group, being part of a team, and just being able to have fun and accomplish goals together.
And then what about that aspect of it, right? Was your mom, was she working, or was she at home? I mean, with 9 kids, that's a huge job and role within itself.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So she was a teacher for a couple years before she had my older sister, and then she stayed home for 18 years. And she was a musician, so she taught piano out of the home. And then would do work at our local church, was an organist there. So she kind of had little side things. And then when my baby sister started kindergarten, she went back to teaching full time.
Okay.
And so I definitely grew up with kind of that mindset of like, oh, I'm, going to get married, start a family, and I'll probably stay at home with my kids and, or maybe be a teacher so I can be home in the summers and, just kind of, had the path in mind of what I saw growing up. And so it was interesting to, I guess, as I realized, have a lot of goals and ambitions, and I don't know that staying at home with kids is what I really want to do. I want kids and, I want that to be part of my story, but I'm not cut out to stay at home with them. So that was kind of interesting, just trying to navigate a path that I hadn't seen in my own home.
I understand that. I feel like there's some people who want to stay at home and then they get a taste of like, okay, maybe I'll go back in the industry, or vice versa, maybe the other way around. What has that taught you? I mean, now looking, you have 2 beautiful children of your own.
Yes.
But to look at what your mom did, can you wrap your head around it, right? You've got 2 and you know how your schedule is and how full your plate is, but to have 9.
Yeah. I have no idea how she did it. I think I was thinking, well, when did she sleep? How did she do it? I have no idea. So it's definitely helped me appreciate, all that she sacrificed for sure. And poured into each of us. Cause I feel like I don't do a great job of it with 2. So
we all feel like that all the time.
Right. Yeah.
So having that, right. You have like that bar set right by your mom and even just, peers and colleagues. But you're in an industry that's very competitive, right? And you're also, a wife, like there's all these things you have to balance. What goes into that and how do you feel fulfilled?
That's a great question. So there's definitely a lot that goes into it, a lot of planning and, trying to figure out as much as I can ahead of time. I'm definitely a planner, to some level, probably a control freak, although, I've been doing life long enough that I realize that, best laid plans can be easily foiled. Sure. But yeah, just lots of planning that goes into everything and maybe just focusing on where I'm at. So a lot of times when I'm at work, I'm just completely dialed into that. And, that goes back to what we were talking about of, that mindset shift I had of that, if I'm dialed in completely at work, then when I'm home, I want to be dialed in at home and not, checking my emails when I'm at dinner with my kids or, putting them to bed or, should be sleeping myself. And so just trying to
putting that phone down.
Yes.
That's tough for all of us.
Yeah. But just trying to be completely present with whatever I'm at. And I feel like that when I'm successful with that, I feel like, well, I know I gave 100% of my attention to that. And that's what I have to give. So I feel like with that I can walk away knowing that I did my best.
So you said you ended up with Jim Ellis kind of, on a whim. Did you have any interest in automobiles, cars, vehicles when you were growing up at all?
I didn't.
What
to
about
be
now?
Honest. It's been fun to learn. And I think initially, that was definitely daunting getting into it of the, you're joining, I guess, the people who grew up with it in their blood and just live and breathe automotive. And, I had lots of moments of thinking, what am I doing here? Like, I don't know anything about this. And, so just kind of also that shift of being able to, feel like I could stand on my own and like finally get to a point of saying, no, you do know things. Like you've been here long enough. You've learned things now that just because you didn't, come out of the womb wanting to go into automotive, it doesn't make you, any less knowledgeable, with the time and effort and learning that I've put into it now.
And being, involved in the industry for a decade, right? Any times that you just question your abilities or should I be here? Did I make the right choice? I know you said initially when you're in between. And then if so, how did you overcome those obstacles?
Yeah, I think there's definitely, probably most people have those moments regardless of industry. But yeah, there's definitely been moments that I've questioned, will this still work for me or is it the right thing? Sometimes it's, with transitions in life, like having my second child and
Mm-hmm.
wanting to have more time at home with my kids, and just looking at what the automotive industry is and I guess the way things work, and not seeing a way that, I could step back and continue what I was doing. And, I didn't necessarily see it, but thankfully, I guess the Ellises valued me as a team member and allowed me to do that, and made it work for me.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean, they're a big part of, I guess, how that's been possible for me to continue at times where I've questioned, can this still work, and is it still for me? And other times it's, just still that curiosity of, I still kind of want to see what's next.
Yes.
It's just such a crazy industry. And most of the team that I work with, I don't know if really any of them have automotive backgrounds. So,
Okay.
so that's kind of I guess, interesting compared to, most of the other positions within our automotive group are just very automotive centric, and people who, want to be automotive focused, whereas ours is a lot of just marketing skill sets that can translate into automotive, or are needed to fulfill our marketing goals. So that's just kind of an interesting dynamic to be able to work with a team of people that it's not so automotive focused.
Sure.
And so a lot of times we do look at each other and think, what have we gotten ourselves into?
Yes.
But it's so fun. And
What keeps you motivated?
I think that, again, it goes back to just the good in the community, and, being able to be part of that. And the Ellises are just really unique people. And I mean, they're all that I've known in the automotive industry. But I think coming from the public sector, a lot of times, I guess, things are just slow moving. And, a lot of times I felt like I was more of that support person in the background, maybe doing parts of a job bigger than mine, but not really getting credit for it. And so I think it's motivated me to be part of a group and a team where, I'm seen as a valuable player, and treated that way by those around me. And I think that appreciation is definitely a motivating factor. So oddly enough, I guess that was kind of an interesting switch, given that your podcast is about women in automotive.
Yeah.
That I found automotive to maybe be a safer space for women, for me at least, at the group that I'm in, than even the public sector where I was before coming to automotive.
What's it like working for the Ellises?
I love it. I think, I wasn't really sure getting into a family owned and operated business, because you hear lots of horror stories from people, sometimes just about, nepotism or things
Sure.
like that. And I was pleasantly surprised to find that, the third generation that runs the company, that now they were, maybe just entering like general manager roles whenever I started with Jim Ellis, but they were some of my favorite ones to work with, were the Ellis family members. And just, I guess, Wes, who's our president, super laid back. I always said, if I was ever going to mess anything up, I hope it's for him, because he's the type that would say, it's okay, we'll figure it out.
Oh, yeah.
And then Stacy, who Wes's older sister, that also is a VP in the company, and she's one that I could always count on. I did a lot of event planning and things within marketing, and she would be one of the first ones there saying, what can I do to help you? What can I help set up? And so just seeing that there wasn't any sense of entitlement there. They were, just as invested as they expected everyone else to be, and they were willing to get in there and roll up their sleeves and just help with whatever it was that needed done. Yeah.
What advice do you give women who, have an interest in the automotive industry, or, maybe breaking in, whether it be sales, communications, or even wanting to be a GM one day?
Yeah. I mean, there's so many different places that you can find a home in automotive. And so I think it's just, like you said, finding, I guess, which area is a fit for you. And, one thing that I've tried to make sure that we have at Jim Ellis is an internship program, just so that people who may have an interest can come in and see what it's all about. And we've had one intern that has turned into a full-time role. So I think maybe internships is a good path for someone who's younger and coming out of school, for someone who is looking to jump or change industries. I think that there's lots of opportunity to start at different places, and lots of at least I know within our automotive group, even training opportunities for someone who wants to be a technician but has no experience. Like, we have technician training programs, we have partnerships with different colleges or training things to where you can really just decide, hey, I think I'm interested in automotive, and get a shot at learning a new skill or learning a new role and being given that chance. So I'm not sure exactly how other dealerships and automotive groups work, and if it's similar or not, but that's one thing that I love, I guess, about our group, is that you really can just come in with an interest and that be the extent of your skill set.
Yeah. Well, and as you mentioned too, a lot of you are from different areas in your sector, and it's kind of nice to kind of bring someone from the outside with different ideas. It might bring something different and new to your industry. Talk about your leadership style. How many people are you leading, and what's your style?
Yeah, so we have a team of 11, or our marketing team, and mine is, I guess, probably shaped a lot by my faith and just trying to offer grace to people where it's needed. I don't expect people to be perfect. I definitely had my own fair share of mistakes, working my way through different positions in the automotive industry. So just trying to offer that grace, but being supportive and helping others succeed. And then I also just try to give any flexibilities that I would want for myself. Try to advocate for those for my team and give those to them.
When you think about the past, what advice would you give, Loren 15 years ago?
Just not to be my worst critic. Okay. So I think that that's definitely something that I probably fall victim to a lot.
A lot of people do.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I think we on my team, we call it imposter syndrome, of just feeling like, I hope they don't find out that, maybe I can't do all the things they think I can, but really, there's a reason that we're put in the roles that we're put in. And it's other people, I think, see things in me maybe before I see them in myself sometimes. So I think it probably just that message of, be willing to be bold and confident in myself, and know my own value, instead of having to wait for someone to discover it or tell me that I'm valuable.
And that's sometimes hard for women.
It is. Absolutely. Yeah. I think in careers and at home, all the places.
It's like you're never enough, right?
Yeah.
But you are.
Yes,
so you've got to
absolutely.
believe that. When we fast forward to the future, what are you thinking 5-10 years from now? Where do you see yourself?
Yeah, I know I said I'm a planner, but probably more short-term planner. Yeah. So I guess I've been 3 years in my role now as the director of marketing, and just finally feel like maybe I'm getting to a place of like, okay, I believe in myself that I can do this and do it well. Because there was definitely that period of like, I hope they don't discover that they put me in a role that's too big for me. But I mean, it's definitely something that I had those people around me to say, no, you've got this, like you're doing a good job. And so I think the next 5 to 10 years, I hope to continue to grow with Jim Ellis. I think when I first started, there were 12 dealerships and 10 brands that we had, and not any clear path that I could see as far as new growth opportunity or where it might lead. But I think as long as they continue to have the appetite for growth that they do, the path kind of presents itself as the company grows. And so I've kind of learned that over the last 10 years. And so it's not a clear path of, I see that I'll be there in 5 or 10 years. If I stay with Jim Ellis Automotive, it's more just kind of like an exciting, I can't wait to see like what happens in the next 5 to 10 years, just knowing where I am now and that it wasn't anything I saw 5 to 10 years ago. So we'll see. But
I'm sure you've seen a lot of changes too within the industry as well.
Yeah.
So it's cool. One of those industries that you do see evolution.
Yep.
Especially, like you said, you don't know where we'll be in 5 to 10 years, but you're excited to see the future and what it holds for you. 'Cause
Yeah,
it seems like
absolutely.
it's been good. Any last words of wisdom or advice you want to leave us with?
Yeah, I think just back to the, being our own worst critic part, and that's really something that, I guess just in addition to, the low percentage of females in the industry, that, we've got to quit being our own worst critic and telling ourselves we can't do something, or that, we can't do the things that the male counterparts can, and just take the leap and show yourself that you can, because you can.
And you're obviously an example of that. Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you, Cheyenne. I appreciate you having me.
Absolutely.
Thanks for watching Women Driving the Industry with Cheyenne Malone.